Welcome. Episode 9, Fourth and Wrong. Today is May 6th, 2024, a day after my dear co-host's birthday. Happy birthday, Chris.
Thank you, Tyler. It's good to hear that from you.
I'm sure it is, yeah. I'm such a
You
good
and
guy.
Jason King texted me today.
We're going to talk a little bit about the Snoop Dogg Bowl, the Tom Brady Roast, which lived up to the hype for sure.
Yeah.
CBS came out now that the portal is officially done for the spring. They came out with their transfer portal grades from the whole transfer portal from the first opening to the second. Talk about a little bit about how there might be more bowls than less bowls in the future, which is shocking to me.
Yeah.
And then a special segment tonight, talking bars with T Huck and Mars.
We're going to workshop the name. It's a heavy rap show for sure, that's why we wore our Sunday best.
Right.
Also, shout out to our friends that gave you that shirt.
Yes.
Smack Apparel. Took me a second too.
Yeah, I figured I would go with it. I actually the fit of this is really nice as well. You know, it's a great pool shirt.
This from Sam's Club for $12. Look at this. Look at these guns. I'm coming back.
Prodigal son, baby.
Worst.
No free ads. Well, I was a free shirt, so I'm gonna give him a free ad.
Very true.
Welcome everybody. Fun night last night. Tom Brady Roast. Everybody had Twitter ablaze. To me, it kind of felt like maybe the beginning of the end of the woke era.
Dude, right off the bat, that's the best part of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that you're allowed to say words again. I mean, you've been to some of my comedy shows, and you went to some of them from like 2015, 16 era, time. And I was saying all the things. It was a different era. It was like, I forgot to upload all the banners. Damn it. Anyway, but yeah, it was it like, and that wasn't even that long ago. But like, it made me happy that you could say whatever. Like all of that seemed like it was back, which is good. Like it's just words. It's not anything. Like as long as you're not saying like a racial, like slur, a homophobic slur.
Except that did get dropped last night, and it just kind of flew. Hinchcliffe dropped the F word.
Yeah, that happened. I think that was more of a pun that he was trying to say with flag.
Yeah, for sure.
But still,
he still dropped it.
He did. Yeah, he did. I think that there's other words that would have been like way worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Those actually were dropped too, but they were by that Sam J person, which I'd never heard of her until last night. She was really good. She's really good. Also, roasts are like, that's like one of my favorite types of comedy. Not to be done to me because I'm emotionally fragile, as like everyone that watches this knows. But it's like the best kind of jokes because anything is like there's nothing off limits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love that people like tried to make things like controversial. Like for example, when who was it? Joe Ross was going in on Kraft, and he was talking about massage parlor, and Brady comes up, and he's like, "Don't talk about that shit." Everyone's like, "Oh, he's pissed." Like, dude, if you were watching the real thing, not just the clip, it was all obviously Brady was just trying to be funny. Like he's a billionaire, he'll end you. Like I just loved it, man. Like it felt like that you could just get up on stage and say whatever the hell you wanted, and no one's feelings were hurt. I mean, they went after Brady hard on his divorce. Everybody basically talked about him being gay.
The Giselle comments that seemed like what he was least comfortable with.
Yeah, as he probably should be, because it was involving his kids and stuff. They're talking about how he's stepping out on his family and things like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, nobody's gonna feel bad for Tom Brady, right? So
no, nor should they.
He took it in stride, and like I thought it was cool that they got Belichick and Kraft up there to take a shot, even though it seemed very forced. Who is the most surprising, like funny person to you out of everybody?
Most surprising. So I'm only familiar with Tony Hinchcliffe because of the Kill Tony stuff.
Yeah,
and like clips like on IG. Dude, Dana White was pretty good. Even for a minute, like what he said off the bat was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, Brady was good. Peyton Manning was great. Brady was good.
I thought Edelman was pretty good.
His timing sucked. His timing, like even the joke about like the hung That's a well hung or whatever. Like about Hernandez, like the timing on it was. But like, here's the thing, people. I think,
But even Brady said something about it.
which no one should have been offended by
The guy's a
any
murderer. Nobody cares
double murderer.
about him. Yeah.
Double murder. Like Aaron Hernandez jokes should not offend anybody. And there were even in the crowd, you could hear like kind of like, ooh. I think when I first started watching it, I was watching with Allie and I was like I didn't realize how many comedians were in there. Because right now Netflix is a joke fest that's happening in LA. So there's like a ton of shows going on in general out there. They had it in the old forum, which is cool. But like what I didn't realize either was they were going to like that was like all comedians in the crowd. That's a tough situation because comedians are, and I can confirm this, are inherently a little bit like they're just miserable to make laugh sometimes. Like not all of them want to have a good like everyone any show that I've been to, it's all comedians. It's always like because people want their jokes to be laughed at and they want to be like the funniest one in the room and all that kind of shit. I thought that part was hilarious. It's also a really friendly reminder that like not everyone is funny. Randy Moss is hilarious in general, like in person.
Yeah.
That set was awful. Ben Affleck, I've always thought Ben Affleck was kind of funny. That was
weird. And then he just left.
What happened? Well, I've done that before. Like, that's like if you bomb, you walk off. But like, what was he? He was really upset with that one dude from Instagram.
I don't know. It seemed like it was a bit that was like just I don't know. It was weird. I thought so. Surprising to me was Brady. Like I just understand he probably didn't write most of those jokes, but I thought he was going to be corny as hell, like delivering. I thought he actually did pretty good. Absolutely roasted Kim Kardashian.
Might have been the best joke of the night.
Might have been the best joke of the night. If you didn't see it, Brady's like he was kind of going down the list of celebrities, kind of taking his shots, and he goes to Kim Kardashian and he's like, "I'm sorry, I know you didn't want to be here, not because of the the situation, but because you had to leave your kids with their dad."
Dude. Also, her reaction and her in general being there 1000% confirms that they fucked. Well, like at 1000%. She like the look she gave me, she was like,
"Yeah,
that was tough." She got booed.
She did get booed.
I almost felt bad for
her. I thought it was great when he was like, "Hey, you did this long ass. You spent $20 million on this investigation." He's like, "You could have just given me the 20, and I admit that I did it."
I would have told you to do that shit for free. That was wild. What's up, here, Lee? Yeah, no, but I think like going back to like the comments and stuff like from Evan, Courtney, she was tweeting about it last night. It was like I hate to say it, but it's like it's a breath of fresh air, and for like being able to say stuff that are just words, And I'll tell you what, since it's something that we're most likely not going to discuss on this podcast ever, especially after your tweet last week, but we're probably not going to discuss this content or this topic ever on this podcast. I'll just mask it through this comedy thing. It felt like sometimes when you push the pendulum so far to one side, it kind of forcefully comes back because people have had enough. Yeah. And I think we see that a lot now in general. We're like in this like current state of current events. But yeah, I thought it was awesome, man. I thought like Gronk was kind of funny. Gronk was the whole time I was watching Gronk, I was like, he's not as dumb as everyone is making him out to be. And then he spoke, and I was like, oh, he's dumber than people. But like the one name that we haven't mentioned, who's an absolute fucking assassin, one of my favorite comedians in general. She was the best person on the entire show last night. Was Nikki Glaser.
Yeah, she's good.
That was incredible. Like I was like having to like catch my breath because it was just like one after another, after another, after another. It was kind of like Tony who like literally walked down the line. That was, I mean, it was good, man. It was good. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. How hammered was Drew Bledsoe?
Off his own line. What a flex.
I know.
He kept saying, he was like, people think I hate you, Tom, and I do. And I was like, I'm beginning to think he's not kidding when he says it. Yeah. No, but I thought that part, like, what was the other part that was, it was also 3 hours, which was out of control. One of the best jokes tonight, I thought Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer sucked. and that's like surprising because they are really, really good at what they do. I'm admittedly not as big of a Burt Kreischer fan as other people. I know you are,
Yeah.
but that their whole set sucked. And it was also the only joke I thought of the entire night that was too far was the Hitler thing. I thought that was way too much.
What remind me of it again?
I don't want to. It's the worst joke of the night. It was like they were like, he also has something in common with another like something. And they
The
like,
Hitler stuff.
yeah, and it was like,
Oh, I thought you said HIPAA. I was like, I don't remember a HIPAA
no,
joke.
it was very, very forced and it was very weird. But all in all, man, it was a really, really good roast, and it felt like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it was good. You hear about this new bowl? So Barstool's out on the Arizona Bowl.
Hold on, real quick. Somebody posted this today, and I was actually talking about this with Kristen yesterday. Who would you want to have like a roast of college football wise? Because like the easy answer is Saban. There's the last thing I want is a bunch of people going up that have no comedic presence and trying to make
Yeah.
jokes. But I would watch like a 3-hour sit down of them just telling stories and talking shit. I would probably watch that for 10 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say Evan just stole my answer, but Kiffin would be funny because
Yeah.
some of the jokes that would be made, we could really find out how true some of the Joey Freshwater stuff is, and
Mm-hmm.
that could be pretty funny. Who else would be? Jimbo would be hilarious.
Jimbo would be good. I don't know if
I don't think he could take it though.
Mm-mm.
He's not one to be roasted, I feel like.
I mean, doing that for 3 hours is like,
Ed O would be good.
yeah.
A roast of Ed Orgeron. I mean,
Yeah.
you could get some real stories out of that.
That's what I'm saying. Again, like I would almost take. Do you remember those? Like I don't know if they had these for everyone, but I remember they had them for like Bama and stuff, and it'd be like former players telling stories about such and such, and it'd be like for like Bear Bryant or like Gene Stallings or so. This is like I'm like very much dating myself, but like I said, I would watch like if there was I would rather have a Last Dance type situation for the Saban thing than a roast. But I just think it'd be funny, like listen to some of the stories. And now that we're in the NIL era and the cheating thing, who gives a shit? Like, would love to hear some of those stories too.
Yeah, I think it's too soon for a tell-all, but I think within the
Yeah.
next 5 years, we're gonna get some pretty good tell-alls. Because think about how many stories like, I remember when Bruce Feldman wrote, like, way back in the day, that Meat Market book that was all about, like, Ole
Mhm.
Miss, like and I'm sure because he didn't wanna burn sources, he was holding back some pretty juicy stories.
Yeah.
Those will be told, I think, eventually, like, once we get further and further away from or I guess into the NIL era.
I want that more than anything. I like
Oh, it'd be great.
honestly, like I've been saying this for such a long time because like the SMU thing, the Wild Wild West time, like recruiting, it's so fascinating. I mean, like the Eric Dickerson story where his grandma gave him a gold Trans Am because A&M gave him a gold Trans Am, and then he was like, I don't want to go to A&M, so he went to SMU but kept the Trans Am. Like I mean,
Yeah.
dude, we talked about this like more like pretty recently. The Derrick Henry thing where he was like, I almost left Alabama, I was going to go to FSU, but they convinced me to stay. Like, okay, I wonder how.
Persuasive group.
Yeah. Anyway, on to more current events and actual cultural stuff. This is wild.
Yeah,
This is wild.
so for those of you that this game is usually like a MAC team and like a it's
Pac-12 or something?
it's not even that. It's like MAC and like I think Wyoming plays in a lot.
Yeah.
Teams
Yeah,
like
that makes
Miami,
sense.
Ohio. Barstool was doing this for the last 3 years. They streamed it on their own platforms. They're out of that game now and enter Snoop Dogg. So Snoop Dogg,
It is
it's
Mountain
actually
West and Mac, by the way.
it is
Yeah.
Mountain West and the MAC. Yeah, there you go. It's the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl now, presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop, which is the first college football bowl game to partner with an alcohol brand.
Really?
Historic.
Is that real?
That is. And brought to you by Snoop Dogg. Just a classic. I can't wait to. So they're presenting it on Yahoo Sports.
What the fuck? So it's not even on TV?
Well, it wasn't before either. It was on Barstool the last 3 years, and like they did some cool stuff. Like Portnoy and Big Cat were the announcers, and like they had all the Barstool characters like in the game somehow doing things. So I wonder what Snoop Dogg is going to do for his presentation on Yahoo Sports. Because I mean,
I
I think
mean,
there's the rules are different. You can kind of say whatever you want, like you can cuss when it's not on television.
yeah, it's true. But remember they did the thing for the Olympics a couple years ago. That like one famous like GIF of him when he was like, "This motherfucker don't miss." Like him and Kevin Hart when they just like that part will be cool. I was thinking about this like I would love if they started doing more things like this. Like if people were rich enough to just do this on their own, like dude,
Yeah.
or just sponsor it after people. Like get a Suge Knight Bowl. Like get a fucking Suge Knight Bowl where there's no targeting. Just really regress the rules like 30 years ago and just let people headhunt and make that the theme of the whole bowl game. I mean, most of these kids aren't going to play the NFL anyway, so put them out
So
there.
yeah, I mean, we've
The Suge
got
Knight CTE Bowl would be awesome.
Gronkowski had a bowl last year. You had Jimmy Kimmel's got a bowl. So essentially, the reason why they can do this is because it's one of a handful of bowls that is not owned by ESPN or any like
Yeah,
television network. So they can name it whatever they want. They can kind of skirt around the rules of doing alcohol because I guess they'd never wanted to, which is so stupid,
yeah.
associate alcohol with college games. Um, so yeah, it's like a little
Everyone
bit
brings
more
up a good
Wild
point
West.
again. By the way,
What's up?
like make everyone smoke beforehand. Can you imagine how many fucking delay games you would get? Just everyone just like
I feel like it'd be illegal to force people to smoke weed. I don't know. Might be me.
what is this, North
Sorry.
Korea?
Sorry, man. I didn't
That's not
I didn't
North
mean to
Korea.
just shit on that, but
I appreciate you taking that so seriously. That was
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta stand for something, Tyler.
Damn, we're back in the woke era, my bad.
Yeah, for
Um,
real.
so speaking of bowls, there's been this kind of conversation of finding a way to make the bowls mean more, or
Yeah.
just like, why have all these bowls if half the teams are gonna opt out, you know? So there's been some discussion amongst college administrators that are leaning towards adding more bowls rather
Mhm.
than reducing them to cater for obviously more money for the schools.
Yeah.
Is at the end of the day what everybody wants. Um, but they're trying to find a solution for revenue sharing with the players to incentivize them to actually play in these games. So,
Yeah, which I like.
uh, and that's my thing here. If we're able to change the rules so we can come to some agreement where there's the student athlete and the university and the TV contract can all be revenue shared, that's great because then that means we're going to get back to, full teams playing each other and making them actually exciting games. If we're not going to do that, adding more bowl games seems pointless to me because we're going to be watching, you know, 5-5 teams or however many games they're playing, 5-7 teams playing each other,
We
and
already
half the
are.
time yeah. So I mean, it's
Okay, so here's the thing. Like my new boss, Matt Moscona, brought this up, and I thought it was a really good point. And I love this idea because you're trying to make people commit to things. If it's for New Year's Six Bowl stuff, love it. Just create a signing bonus. Like, or I actually that probably wouldn't work either because if you're going to be a first round draft pick, there's still no incentive for you to not play. But like, I understand the sentiment of what they're trying to do. I don't think it's that far off base out of being a good idea. Here's the thing: like, one of the people that is heading this whole thing up is the guy from the ReliaQuest Bowl.
it's an
And
important figure in sports. So I mean, watch what you're about to
right.
say.
So the ReliaQuest Bowl used to be called the Hall of Fame Bowl. And they
Okay.
stopped naming it that because they sold out and got a bunch of money for it. So like his example too was like, all right,
Shocking.
if you're if you're Jaden Daniels, if you're Jaden Daniels and you're trying to figure out like, hey, look, what should I do here? Like I'm gonna be an early draft pick. All the hay's in the barn. I had won the Heisman. My draft stock it went from being like a 6th-round pick to a top 5 pick to eventually being a top 2 pick. Jalen Daniels signed a contract for 37 million guaranteed. Why the fuck would that guy play in the ReliaQuest Bowl? So like, you're still gonna have some level of opt outs. Like at that point, it's like, okay, if I have a breach of contract, what is the fine that I'm gonna have to pay? Because I guarantee you, the agency, the sports agency he's gonna sign with, is gonna be like, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
Like, there's no reason to go and get hurt. I do like that they have the ball rolling to try and figure out a way to make this like potentially a thing. Like this is how usually things start, right? Where it's like, all right, we're going to negotiate this into existence. Here's the first round, a first draft of what we're trying to do, and it'll get like tinkered with from there.
Um, I even think you go a step further and you not only incentivize everybody to play, but then you incentivize a team to win.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, everybody criticized the MLB for doing the whole like whoever wins the All-Star game gets to host the World Series, and I thought that was kind of a weird thing, but
Yeah.
at least they attempted to make an All-Star game something that was a fun product to watch. I mean, you look at what happened to the Pro Bowl is basically diminished down to like 7-on-7 games. You
But I
look at
mean,
the NBA game, it's like 250 to 280, like nobody
yeah,
cares. They're
that's
just
tough.
looking, so if you can incentivize these kids to not only play, but then actually care to win, like I think you
Yeah.
could actually make all the bowls a really enjoyable product.
I mean, it's
You're still,
probably,
yeah,
yeah.
granted, you're still gonna have a top 5 pick opt out, but maybe
Right.
a second rounder has the ability to make 50 grand. I mean, or maybe not even a second rounder, but like a third, fourth, fifth, if you get 50 grand to win a game, like, hey, I'll go out there and play. I mean, it's not like
Could also incentivize it by saying like, hey, here's like the purse if like there's like a prize, like a cash prize for winning MVP. Like if you win like 20 grand for winning MVP of the game,
right.
um,
And why
that's
not?
something
I
as well.
mean, they can make money now legally, so
Yeah.
we need to
Why
start
not?
doing this. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
money going through college football at this point.
I mean, but the other thing is too, like again, you have to start somewhere. So I'm glad they're starting with this to an extent. The other part of it that like where I hope it starts is New Year's Six games, right? Like, which at this point, like, are those like obsolete because of the playoff is going to be 12 teams this year and 14 next. So it's like that's when it was at 4. That's what became very quickly was like the side effect of it, which is no one gives a shit if you didn't make the playoff. And you saw the worst case was the 2020 Florida team because that game against Oklahoma was awful, and really for the rest of the season, right? Like
Yeah.
that was just a very weird thing, and it kind of like that team alone did so much damage to Dan Mullen, to Florida's program, to bowl stuff. Like it's just wild. Like the
To
impact
unlace
that they
shoes.
had. Yeah, that was also unlace shoes. Very
Yeah,
true.
gotta watch out. So yeah, we'll see where this goes. I've got to imagine that this will be probably not in place for this season coming up,
Right.
but who knows? Everything changes so fast these days. You never know, I guess. But CBS came out with their spring, or really, they're just their portal grades in general.
Yeah.
Now that the spring portal window is closed, thought it was a pretty interesting piece. They basically took the transfer rankings at 247 and took into account whether the team filled needs, like got a good bang for its buck on NIL, and how it managed its roster. So they took all that into effect with the grades, not just like pure
Yeah.
rankings. Your Crimson Tide got an A minus.
Really?
They did.
They damn sure better have after the shit that happened in what do you call it?
They
In
brought in
January.
more than a dozen transfers. You had a former 5-star D tackle, LT Overton,
Mhm.
who actually I believe went to my high school. I think he went to Milton.
Oh yeah, he was like the number 1 player in the
Yeah,
country, like his junior year.
yeah.
This is actually when I lived in Milton, next year where you were. But yeah, it's like I think he ended up being like a 5-star. He wasn't number 1 overall though.
Yep, so he'll probably be a plug and play guy, I would think. Jeremy Bernard, who had a good spring game.
I
He
enjoyed
also
that.
transferred in. Damani Jackson, former 5-star from USC. So A minus for your crew. How do you feel
I
about that?
just real quick on that. It's very shocking because of the fact that like the amount of talent they lost. It's great they were to bring people in, but the amount of people they lost, man, and the people they lost at like in the secondary especially, it's I don't know how anybody looks at that and thinks it's not concerning. Like if Bama fans are telling themselves that secondary is not going to be a concern, that's they're lying to themselves. But whatever.
We will stay in state there. I was a little shocked how little Auburn did in the portal. CBS agreed B minus for them.
Mhm.
You didn't get a lot of top names. I just thought that they didn't Hugh Freeze say at the beginning of the year that like they were going to go heavy into the portal?
I don't
I
know
just
why he would have because everything his whole thing from day one though was like they wanted to recruit guys and have them be there for 3 years and develop them. Like that was more of his thing. Maybe year one.
Yeah.
Again, I've been high on Auburn, and maybe I'm crazy for that. And like we had on the Friday show, we had Barrett Leon, and I was telling him my thoughts on why I would have Auburn high, and he thought I was a little bit nuts for that. But I mean, yeah, like Draco, who absolutely fucking hates me on Twitter, but is here anyway. He makes a good point. Like they got the lineman today was not as big of a deal. The receiver they got, because like you think about the position they struggled at last year, man. Like obviously the O line was tough. The QB situation hopefully gets better. Like I don't know how it wouldn't. Like he would have to improve, right? And the bar is set pretty low from a passing standpoint. That I don't know how Peyton Thorne wouldn't get better. The room itself should be a little bit more skilled. So like iron sharpens iron type thing. But they didn't really need to go to the portal.
You make that up. That's a good quote. Iron sharpens iron.
But they didn't really need to go to the portal because they got so much talent coming in from high school. And I mean, dude, and they're doing it again. Like they have a top 10 class for next year. I think they were ranked 7 or something like that. But like what they were able to bring in, everyone, including me, keeps talking about Cam Coleman, right? Dude, Perry Thompson is still coming to campus. And then they go out and get the top receiver in the portal as well. I'll say it again. There's not a more drastic difference at a single unit in the SEC and maybe the country than Auburn at receiver from last year to this year. There's just not. Like they have outdone themselves is putting it mildly for like the talent they're going to bring in at that position. So fuck CBS,
I mean,
bro.
I would say Keandre Lambert-Smith is the receiver. He was the number 1 receiver in the second portal window.
I thought
it was a very weak, because I mean, think about it. You had guys like Evan Stewart. Like it's so far long ago, it feels like that open portal. So, and it was a very weak wide receiver class that went in the portal for this. So, I mean, I don't think that Keandre Lambert-Smith is going to be some sort of game changer for them. But I don't know. You're relying on
Auburn receiver. Name an Auburn receiver. What's the last Auburn receiver you could name? I'll give you 10 years. You know what? Years? From 2014 on, give me one. I have to think of one.
Who's that kid?
Yeah, tough, huh?
Yeah.
Seth Williams is the only one I can think of.
Seth Williams, yeah. Wow.
Dude, and the only other reason I can think of, I can't even think of his name right now, but number 5, Draco, I'm sure knows, unless he's sending me hate mail in my DMs. But number 5, who caught the Prairie Jordan Hare. Like, dude, Auburn hasn't, actually, he might.
If I can't name
dude, that kid, but see, I guess he was there in 2014.
Sammy Coates, yeah.
Sammy Coates was there in 2013, 2014. That's true. So, but like, that's really the last year I feel like those had a really big impact. God, those two were fucking.
But that's kind of sad.
Not being in the NFL.
Sammy Coates, yeah, that's going back a while.
That's 2014.
I know. That's 10 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like now, you have at least have. I think they have. I think that position. We don't need to spend this much time on Auburn. I really don't. I don't know why I keep going to it, but I think that they're going to be so much improved at that position.
LSU got a C+ from CBS. They didn't like their squad too much coming in from the portal. Florida B-. So I don't know, man. It's interesting to hear Josh Pate talk about Florida. He's like all in on them.
Say something nice about Florida just once.
No, that's what I'm trying to right now. He's all in on them right now. Like he's saying the way that when you go and like take a day with them, they operate like a highly functioning Georgia, Alabama type program, but the results aren't there on the field. And I guess internally he's saying they're very confident for this year. But
I love that.
Over the win total is 4.5. I mean, they've got
5.5. It's not 4.5. There's no way Florida's is 4.5.
I don't know.
Dude, Vandy's is 4.5.
No, Vandy's is. There's no way Vandy's is 4.5.
No, it's probably not. Not at all.
I think it's like 1.5.
Yeah.
We do this every year, man. What's the 2? No, it's always 2.5.
Dude, we hit the Vandy over every year in like October. We're just like high-fiving like we're the smartest ones in the fucking room.
Your defending champion, Michigan Wolverines. I got a B. Um, the highest grades here, A pluses for Oregon, Texas, and yours truly, Florida State.
Real quick, before we I want to get to that. The LSU one real quick. And I'm only speaking this because I know a little bit more about it now, having to cover
Yeah.
them. The C minus. So like Brian Kelly was very, very upfront with. He was like, we have one position we are in need of in the portal, and it's defensive line. Like that's it. We don't need to go anywhere else. Like on offense, they have a ton of depth at receiver. You get some good depth at running back. You're bringing in two guys coming into the season, and like you have a lot of highly ranked recruits and shit like that. Obviously, quarterback is going to be fine for years to come with Bryce Underwood as well. The offensive line, you have two of the top tackles in the entire country, including the best offensive lineman going into next year with Will Campbell. Defensive tackle, like linebackers, good. The secondary, you've got dudes. They just need to like not be so shitty, right? So it's like if there was two positions you could have gone after, it was DB and D lineman. But Brian Kelly himself said we're only going for D lineman, and it felt like they were only going to bring in like one or two guys. They didn't bring anybody. They didn't like.
They got 3 corners or 3 DBs. One guy was ranked number 398 in the portal. One guy was number 755. They
in
did
the
get a
portal
guy that,
alone?
yeah, in the portal alone. And then Jardine Gilbert was 27.
That kid.
So CBS
Thank God
here
he was
saying,
good at
I'm not
football.
sure those 2 first guys are obviously going to be high level players for you. Gilbert could possibly be, but
Yeah.
that was your biggest weakness last year, and it didn't seem like you upgraded it too much. Look, I think it's proven out that there are teams succeeding right now that are going all in on the portal on very specific positions
Mhm.
and trying to develop at certain positions as well. And the ones that are doing it effectively, I think are crushing the portal right now.
Yeah.
I think
All
it's
right,
going
so
to
go
keep
back to
teams.
the ones that
FSU
won.
and Clemson. What's that?
Go back to the teams that won. It was FSU. I'm assuming Oregon. You said.
Oregon and Texas were all A pluses.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas had an outstanding. I think Florida State's was good. I mean, again, their rankings are based on need, NIL spent, which I don't know how they have those numbers,
Yeah.
and just overall roster management. So there's more to it than just. But you know, they're really high on Malik Benson from Bama, and
Yeah.
I think he's going to be our best receiver at this point. Which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because he didn't do anything last year.
No, he did nothing. Dude,
Dylan
Oregon.
Quill.
People are talking like. People are very high on Oregon. I've seen some people that think they should be ranked number 1 going into next year, which is, in my opinion, crazy. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that have Oregon, like the roster they have put together as like one of the most talented in the country. Do you like? Am I? It's good, but like,
No, I mean, I first of all, you're going to a tougher conference since your first year in the conference.
right?
But the other thing is, like, do I think they're better than Ohio State, Georgia, Texas? I mean, those 3 off the bat, I'm thinking are better than Oregon going into the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the step up to the Big Ten, although the Pac-12 was really good last year.
It was
They could
last
get over
year.
the
It was
Washington,
last year. But I
Yeah.
do think from the body of work standpoint, from the full body of work, you look at Oregon and like what they've been able to do the past couple of years or past like couple of decades, really, in the Pac-12. Like the Pac-12 has never been that deep, like as it was last year. And I remember us sitting here on the show last year, and it wasn't just like an indictment on USC being a little bit overrated, but we were looking at that conference and being like, I don't see how they finish above 5th. I think that was my take. It was like, Oregon, Washington, Oregon State was going to be good. Utah's always tough. Like, I still say that maybe we just hit 1,000 on the.
There you go. 1,000 live viewers. That is a new record. Let's go.
Yeah.
Damn,
Thanks,
I didn't
guys.
even realize.
No, I do think they've put together a lot of talent. I do think it's interesting to see where they've done it too, because
I think it might be my shirt. Brought to you by Smack Apparel.
so fucking stupid. No, but like the way they're doing it too, like building it from the inside out. Like we saw Cristobal put together like decent O lines, but like the defensive line that Oregon has put together has to be the best in program history. Like just from a ranking standpoint of players, like on paper, it's really really impressive.
Yeah. Well, Lanning gets it. I
Yeah,
do think that their future under Lanning and just where that program's headed with NIL and all that, I think they're gonna be a perennial top 5 team.
I don't. People kept saying this when he was being interviewed at Bama. I wanted him to go if he was going to go, but like, why would you leave Oregon for Bama? Again,
I
this is
mean,
this, I say this all the time. Like, and it's not just like I can get into the Oregon versus Bama thing easily, but like Brett Bielema was at Wisconsin in the Big Ten West with a guaranteed like Olympiad s like every Olympiad trip to the Rose Bowl. Like every 4 years he was going to get to the Rose Bowl. He was going to probably get to Indianapolis for the and win the Big Ten West every 3 out of 4 years. And then he left to go to Arkansas. Like sometimes, like I'm not comparing Bama to Arkansas, but there's just not really a reason if you can keep winning and keep building like basically a fucking empire up there away from everybody. Like why would you not?
yeah. I mean,
So
beautiful part of the country.
I wouldn't say that, but
I only know great people from there that go to school in
why
that
are you
state.
doing this?
Um,
What's wrong with
okay.
you?
Notre Dame was also on the list at a B plus. Ohio State A. Obviously, that's probably not. There's
Yeah,
probably more quality than quantity on them. But again, that's a team that went all in on specific positions. And I mean, even though they had Henderson coming back, Travion Henderson at running back, they went out and got Quinchon.
how do you think that's going to work out?
I think I mean, if you look at the NFL, I mean, a lot of these teams now have 2 good backs, and they use them differently. And I think that's what they're gonna. I think they use these 2 backs differently in different situations, but they each get probably the same amount of touches throughout the year.
I mean, but outside of J.K. Dobbins, I can't think of an Ohio State quarterback in Ryan Day's system that,
Running
and I
back,
mean
maybe?
that when he was there as an OC and Urban was still the coach, but like I think he was still the coach in 2019, right? No, he was there. He left before that. But like, I mean, this is a quarterback and pass heavy. What are you pouring? Are you?
Beer?
Uh, it was like out of the screen, like just so slightly, so
Oh,
it looks like
sorry.
at you. Um, no, but like I think that my only concern with Ohio State, right? Like going into the season, once they get there, are they going to be able to beat Georgia? That's like really the only thing I have on my list with them. I think they're so fucking loaded. But like the one thing, if you're looking at a potential downfall, dude, Quinshon, if you ask people close to Ole Miss, that is not somebody that's missed very much.
Really?
Like,
Mm.
well, so you saw it in the bowl game too. It's Penn State. There's like several videos like where he's like he gets tackled. You have O lineman going over there like about to get him up, and they just walk by him. Like one of them like reached down and like he remembered mid reach. He was like, nah, fuck this guy, because he was like demanding so much money. He got it from Ohio State, but we have not seen in a Ryan Day offense him being able to utilize 2 backs in his system at all. So that part is like a wonder for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that.
So
I think they're gonna use both of them as receivers a lot as well. They're both pretty good at it, and I don't know, man. I just feel like with backs, it's kinda like you don't really wanna be a feature back, like, get 80% of the carries in college because you've only got a limited time clock on that body when it comes to the NFL, and
yeah, that's true.
I'd rather take less hits in college before I get paid. I'll go, "They're getting paid now, so hell."
Yeah.
Should we go talking bars here?
No, we still have one more. Don't we have like one more real thing to talk about? Oh no, let's talk about this first.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, you didn't send me the link, which was good.
It's DraftKings. My bad. Okay. All right. How about so? Here we go. DraftKings has updated as of today, May 6th, 2024. They have updated their not game of the year, but they have updated their main. Evan makes another great point, by the way, about Ohio State, but they've updated the odds for their biggest games going into the season. Right. So I was saying this to you, like, what are a couple of games that either stood out or that you would think that are locks? Because like every year going into the summer, I still say there's games that like Vegas doesn't miss much, but this early they do. And like there was like a 3-year straight where they had the Georgia Florida game from like 2018 or 2017 to 2019. It was like a less than 7-point line, and I was like, I remember telling Danny
But
Bell
these early lines, you can't really like
put a ton
smash.
of money on.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm asking you if you could, right off the bat, Florida State is a 13-point favorite on the road to Georgia Tech. Is that being played in Atlanta?
That's in Ireland.
Why do I keep forgetting that?
I know. I would
Why are
as
you
of right now, I'm not going. Like, it's expensive.
as of right now? They should start planning. Like what?
No, I mean, I'm looking at the flights. Like, it's a lot. Um, I don't know really what to think because not the spring game was very disjointed, and I just don't really have a good feel of what we're gonna be.
Mhm.
DJU, like I've been saying, I think he's gonna be okay. He's gonna be exactly what he was last year, probably at Oregon State. Like nothing
Yeah.
spectacular, solid, doesn't turn the ball over a lot. I actually I like Georgia Tech. They're getting better under Brent Key for sure. Haynes
I
King's
do
done a really
too.
good job there. Um, First game of the year, I don't know. I don't like I'd probably stay away more than anything just because I'd love to see him on a game. I
Yeah.
don't like having these bigger games. Not that it's a huge game, but I like warming up with like some small FCS school or something.
Yeah.
Or
I'm just kind of going through them, and I tell you what's very interesting to me that two of the teams that are left of the Pac-12, I guess I don't remember how they're even going to do that, but Washington State will play Washington, traditionally one of the last games of the year, um, and Oregon will play Oregon State the first. I'm sorry, on September 14th. So like the third weekend of the season.
oh yeah, because this the Pac-12 is just
Right. Just gone.
what? Yeah, so they're playing a Mountain West schedule, right? The two Pac-12 teams.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Such
Um,
a weird time in college football right now.
such a weird time, especially them because like anyway.
Hey, how about
I guess,
this? I always get these two teams confused, but is North Dakota State a really good Division two
yeah,
program?
yeah,
They're plus 7
7-point
against
underdog.
Colorado. I don't know, man. I think Colorado lost to worse teams last year than North Dakota State.
There is not a person. They're at home, dude. They're at home and they're a 7-point favorite.
Yeah.
There's not a person in America outside of Boulder that's going to be cheering for Colorado.
No. No,
Yeah.
dude. We didn't talk about that. Okay, we didn't talk about Shador yet
We'll
either.
talk about it after this. Like I made
Yeah.
a banner for it and everything like that. But yeah,
Oh,
we
man,
can
people
do
were mad in the comments of that video you posted on Instagram.
about us.
Yeah, because typically I never got, like, tagged, like, where it was show up on my timeline as well, so I was getting notifications of all these comments and likes and all this stuff in the video, and people were saying some nasty stuff. I couldn't a lot of times, I think they were talking about you because you talked more in the video, but
It's okay. Well, here, first off, I don't need to know what they said because there's people that say shit to me all the time, every day
oh,
on social media. But I remember I did see one that was like, it's just like, oh, dude can't get his fucking dick sucking lips off Shadur, and I was like, sir, we're just talking about football. Like, what the hell is happening right now? I do love the Shadur for Heisman comment from Draco in the comments though. So that will be interesting. Colorado 6.5-point underdog at Nebraska. Like all of those lines are fascinating. Those are ones I wouldn't touch at all there.
what about Georgia minus 13.5 over Clemson?
Wouldn't touch that because I think that Clemson. But like, dude, that game could be good because Clemson could be keep it close or whatever. I don't see
Yeah.
how they would. That game feels like if you give me the option of is it going to be kept close, like some of those 2013, 2014 Georgia Clemson games,
Mm.
or is it going to be closer to Georgia Oregon 2022? I would lean Georgia Oregon 42-3.
I'm not a big believer in Klubnik.
No, they have to be better on offense. I would think last year, but like because they got better receiver, but that's about it.
Still zero transfer portal.
One total in his entire tenure there.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And
Tennessee,
it was wasn't it Hunter Johnson, the guy that transferred from them and went to Northwestern and then transferred
Yeah.
back to the backup QB?
Yeah,
God.
that's a net zero.
Notre
Tennessee and
Dame,
North.
Texas A&M.
Who? Oh yeah,
Texas A&M -2 over Notre Dame.
because they're at home. I would take Notre Dame, and I would hammer Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's very interesting because that's a first game. Now I don't know what we're gonna get out of what's his face from Duke, the new Notre Dame quarterback,
Riley Leonard?
Riley Leonard. Like how healthy is he? Because I don't think he played in the spring game.
No, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Like from a talent standpoint, Notre Dame is better than A&M. I think Elko's a good coach, and I tell you what, here the interesting factor of the whole thing is that Elko was Leonard's coach last year. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna know how to game plan.
Here's something to watch though. In that first game, Notre Dame just had their 2 tackles drafted in the first and second round.
Yes,
So
that
you're
is
gonna
true.
have 2 brand new starters there. And that kid that transferred in from Purdue at the end. I don't know, but it's very interesting that Texas A&M is favored in general.
Name an A&M player.
Who's A&M's quarterback?
Name an A&M player.
Oh, Wegman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Wegman looked good before. And look, I mean,
Former 5-star.
I don't know what offense they're running yet. I haven't really dove into that yet, but I mean, Jimbo's offense was by the end of his tenure there, it wasn't exactly the most explosive. So
No.
you never know. Yeah, interesting.
I would take Notre Dame. That would have been one of my main picks. The other one, I hate this line, but Tennessee covering 5.5 on the road at NC State. I do love that. All right, so let's just get through some of these. Texas is a 3-point favorite at Michigan. Kind of interesting. Bama 7.5 on the road against Wisconsin. USC versus Michigan. Michigan's an 11-point favorite against USC in that first Big Ten game for the Trojans. Some of these matchups, man.
Over USC.
Huh?
LSU 6-point favorite over USC.
Yeah. Dude, some of these matchups are conference games. Like Utah at Oklahoma State is a conference game this year. Let's see. Auburn is a 3-point underdog against Oklahoma. That is a game that Evan Grimes in the comments and in my DMs has said that he thinks is completely wrong. And I don't necessarily disagree with him. I mean, but that's Auburn should be undefeated for that game. Oklahoma should too, because of who they open up with for both those teams, really. So I think that'll be very interesting. Arkansas A&M's kind of shit. So Georgia and Bama. Georgia is now a 4.5-point favorite on the road at Bama. One of the reasons I think that's interesting is because if you look at college games versus college games, you get roughly a 7-point swing, 6-7 points versus like home and away. So what they're basically saying is like on a neutral field, Georgia would probably be like, or if Georgia was at home, they'd be like an 11.5-point favorite over Bama. Which I don't think I'd argue that either.
Yeah, I mean, it seems fair.
Yeah. Iowa, Ohio State, 24. I don't want to get into that.
Oklahoma.
Here's one that's interesting. A&M is a 4-point favorite at home against Mizzou. I mean, I'll say right now, that is my third best bet. I would take that in a heartbeat. Mizzou.
DraftKings is high on Texas A&M.
Well, and those are home games, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Dude, the other one, and maybe this shouldn't be like a surprise to me because I saw people comment about it earlier. Like LSU has 7 games listed in like these early lines. 7 games, right? They are favored in 6 of them, including games against USC, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Bama, Florida, and Oklahoma. Against OU, they're a 5-point favorite, by the way. It's like not even a small line. They're a 3-point underdog at A&M.
Texas 8.5 over Oklahoma. That's interesting to me. Oregon -1 over Ohio State.
Very surprising. I mean, it's a lot of home games. Georgia's a favorite on the road at Texas. Just Georgia's the best team in the country, though, is what DraftKings is saying.
Alabama, 2-point favorite on the road against Tennessee.
Oh, love that. I would take Tennessee.
Georgia over Texas. You just said that -1.5.
Bama's an 8-point favorite against Mizzou, 8.5-point favorite against Mizzou. Georgia's 22-point favorite against Florida. Oregon is a road favorite against Michigan. Very, very interesting. I mean, like I tell you what, I hate to be a victim of this, or maybe this is a byproduct. It's a better way to look at it. But like, I keep talking about how I don't want to see college football just become two super conferences going head to head. But
The matchups are
man,
pretty sweet.
dude, the SEC matchups and the Big Ten matchups, like those are all those are the only ones that draw your attention here.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you've got some like Florida, like personally, but I think even nationally, like Florida State, Clemson, Florida State, Miami will draw, but other than that, no one's gonna give a shit about
yeah.
basically any ACC games.
Um,
Um,
let me take off the Tennessee one, the 5.5 point road favorite against Cincy State, because I hate the 5.5 points.
oh yeah,
And so my three biggest bets are all for road teams, which is stupid. But I will go this: Notre Dame +2 at A&M, Mizzou +4 at A&M. Ohio State is a 3-point favorite at Penn State. That is your lock of the year. Penn
okay,
State to win a big game. Okay,
yeah.
sure.
Well, they don't have to win.
Yeah,
They could lose in heartbreaking fashion by one.
sure.
I love Utah -8 over Colorado.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I feel like that's a
Oh,
Utah is a much tougher team. Um, let's see, going through here.
is it at Colorado?
It is.
Okay.
I will take. Oh wait. Oh no, no, yeah, okay, never mind. I'm gonna take Missouri -10 over Auburn at home,
Okay.
and I'm gonna take Miami +1 at Louisville.
Oh, I thought Louisville was gonna be good this year.
They've had some turmoil. Rumors that
Oh, really?
NIL deals are not being paid properly. They've had a lot of people hitting the portal. I don't know. That's the other that's the other factor that you don't know. Like these kids could leave in the middle of the summer still. I think
No, the portal's closed. They have to sit out.
they have to sit out.
I
Okay,
said that, and I hope
but
you heard it in my
they could
voice.
just sit out in the middle of the year though, like middle of the
Yeah,
season. Be like I'm done for the season. Like I don't know where this is all headed, but
yeah.
I think Miami they are all in as far as they're one of these teams that acquired a ton in the portal at positions of need, spent some. There are rumors
Ton of
that they have
money.
the highest dollar NIL roster in the country at this point.
Yeah,
So I think they're going to be a pretty good team this year.
I agree
So
with
those are my three.
that. Okay, well, let's close with our uncensored moment of the week. Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, and we're both big rap. We're deep in the rap game.
Yeah, for
So
sure, for sure.
we've been following this beef since 2013. Obviously,
I thought it started on Saturday.
oh, I know you're just joking around. We obviously know that this has been brewing for a long time.
You imagine getting into a fucking rap beef and having a heart shaved into your head.
Yeah, that's a tough look. Um, okay, should we just? I mean, obviously, we don't know anything about this beef, but
I want you to bring up all of the stuff from everything. Here's what I've gathered. Okay, because I got into a drunk conversation with my friend Riley about this,
okay,
and Riley and Christopher are the two names you want most when you're trying to address rap stuff.
okay,
I mean,
right,
one, shout out to Kendrick Lamar for not going below the belt and bringing up the whole Degrassi thing. It's probably the first thing I would have brought up. Drake being in a wheelchair and Degrassi for sure, for sure.
yeah.
Um,
I think you went a little bit more below the belt than that, though.
way below the belt, way
Yeah,
below the belt. Apparently, Drake has a whole other kid that no one's talking about.
still
He
not the
also
worst
got
thing.
called a pedophile. And the way one of the wildest parts of this whole thing, by the way, is that so like Kendrick would release a song and it would be like, oh my God, that's some damning stuff. And I think Drake released another song and it was, I thought, pretty good. And they had a video along with it.
Yeah,
And like it was released on Spotify and YouTube and Apple, I'm assuming. Like, but it was like definitely on Spotify, all these things. Like it was a well done production. Kendrick was like, dude, at one point on
he
Saturday
was just like
night,
speaking. He was just like, "Hey, you're a piece of shit. I hope you die. Like you shouldn't be on this earth."
30 minutes after one of Drake's songs came out, 30 minutes, he released another one, and it was just like on Spotify. He's like, I don't give a or not Spotify, it was on SoundCloud. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Like he was working for the SDS podcast, just like throwing out shit on Spot or on SoundCloud for no fucking reason.
So he legit went in and basically was like, Drake's mansion's about to get raided by the FBI, just essentially alluding to just what happened to P. Diddy. And he mentioned Epstein, and he's mentioned that he's sexually attracted to minors. He mentioned that he was running a sex
minor line was pretty good. That was like. Also, do you see like the cover of the song that he released? Evan, you're probably more in tune to this than any of us. Even like, I know you're
chat can help us
college
maybe
cross,
tell the
but I need
story.
you to weigh in on this. Or if Draco's still here, he seems a lot cooler than both of us. Like, if you have any info on the whereabouts of this fucking beef, hold on, my old. Oh god. So there was like one of the songs he released, like Kendrick did. The picture has like the still shot of like the thumbnail or whatever was like what you would see from when you Google search like sexual predators in your neighborhood.
Oh.
And it was just all in Drake's house.
Dude, this.
I'm not laughing at the context or the content.
No, obviously. But like this seems like it's escalating to the point where, like, do you think this is gonna get like to the point where it got back with like Tupac and Biggie?
No, but like
because I feel like this is like Drake's not hard like that, and Kendrick's not hard like that to me. Like compared to me, obviously, probably harder than me.
Not me, bro. I got shot. Not either of these people been shot before.
Back in the day, in the 90s, these guys were like really like rolling with some people. This is like some weird shit about like sex with minors. Like it's weird.
Here's the thing, and I'm not trying to like date myself, and I think that both of these are phenomenal artists. I don't know the ins and outs of either of these things. But when I tell you that I was 11 years old or 10 years old, and Tupac, whose mom lived in Stone Mountain, Georgia at the time when I did, saw her at a fucking book signing at the Walden Books right across from Captain D's, right off Memorial Drive when I was like 12. When I tell you that he came out with a song called Hit 'Em Up, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard, and the opening line of the song was, "That's why I fucked you, bitch, you fat motherfucker." Like, what? What?
Did you ever see the viral video, like right when YouTube was like first coming out, that someone dubbed that song over Barney? A Barney video?
It was hilarious.
It was so good.
I feel like I tried to find that like a couple of months ago. Like not even that. Like I was like drunk. And I was like, where can I find? Dude, when like Baby Bop came in, he was like right on the beat. People don't even know what we're talking about and think we're going to sound even wider than before. But
no, it is the best. It's one of the best YouTube videos of all time.
Dude, I'll never forget this, and we can share this because we're adults now. I will never forget. It was like the first time I ever got high, like one of like 3 times in my life. And I remember I was in college with this kid who was like, "You ever seen that Barney Tupac YouTube skit?" And I was like, "Huh?" And he was like, "You don't see the funniest shit you ever heard?" And I was like, "I'm just trying to listen to OAR, man." And he was like, he put it on. It was like one of the funniest. It's the hardest I've ever laughed. It was incredible.
It was a crazy game of poker.
So bad. Just so bad. Anyway.
Dude, me and my friends used to watch the OAR live at Madison Square Garden DVD pretty much every Friday afternoon when we get out of class. We'd blast that in our house and we would just pregame for the bars. Good memories, but
Tyler,
very, very stereotypical.
I showed up to Best Buy the moment they opened so I could get that CD. And in my head, I was like my dad at the time, I remember him telling me stories like, "Dude, I remember camping out. I camped out for Stones tickets for 2 days in a tent on the sidewalk." And I'm like, I'm going to be the first in line at Best Buy to
no
get
one
this
else was
fucking
there.
OAR live at Madison Square Garden. It was actually a really good album.
It really was.
It was.
Shit,
but yeah, anyway. All right. Well, we have outwhited ourselves, which is tough to
As
do.
we're talking about the Drake and Kendrick beef.
Yeah. We somehow lost focus, shifted into The train of thought, the level of white that you had to have from like, hey man, let's talk about this rap battle. And it turned into us talking about a Barney YouTube video and then our favorite OAR memories.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
Unbelievable. Well, it's been a great
effects again after that. So that's cool.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Real quick before you sign off. So like I said, we've been doing this for a couple weeks now. The actual views have been really good. We appreciate you guys tuning in. So we are a daily show now. Me and Tyler will do the Monday show every Monday, hopefully at 8, sometimes 8:30. But Monday through Friday, we will have a show. And usually we'll have a guest. We'll be talking about football, college football, really anything we want. Last week we had Barrett Salee, Mike Bratton, and who else am I missing? I'm missing somebody. And that was from the shows a week ago. This week we have JD Piquel from On 3, Garrett Chapman from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered, and we have yet to have someone from Friday, but we will be here every single day, Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Friday, we have a special lunchtime show at 11 a.m. So all those times are Eastern, Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m., Friday, 11 a.m. Make sure you join us for all those as well. Bang. 5 stars. Apple Podcast, Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. We appreciate it. Talk next week.